Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and one of Ripple's co-founders is engaging in a rather unusual activity. Here's the headline from Cointelegraph. One of Ripple's co-founders is spending a fortune installing cameras in San Francisco. I read that headline, I was like, what the hell is that all about? So I'm going to share it with you. It'll be interesting, fun stuff here. And I've also got this story from You Today titled, Shares of Ripple partner MoneyGram pop 14%. Here's why. But before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Bitcoin maxi trolls, go ahead and delicately tap that like button. I would definitely appreciate it. It'll help to get all of my nonsense out to other unsuspecting victims. And also go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. Because if you don't subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, you are dead to me. Alright, into the content now. A crypto mogul and Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen paid over... I haven't heard him called a mogul before. That's something. Anyway, Chris Larsen, he's paid over $4 million to install 1,000 high-definition cameras on the streets of San Francisco. He claims his goal is to combat crime, specifically theft. That sounds admirable, right? You go get him, Chris Larsen. Now, according to a report published by the New York Times, Larsen, who recently recovered from COVID-19, decided to take up this project after a group of unknown men climbed into his garden in 2011 and cut the wires to his home security while his children were sleeping inside. That's kind of scary stuff there. Yeah, it's amazing. So cutting the wires to home security, so I guess most people don't know how to do it, but if you're a terrible person, you can figure that out. What's interesting, though, is with modern systems, it's typically like web-based, and well, I say web-based, but it's like the things they connect with like cell towers. And so like I think even if your Wi-Fi goes off, then you're fine. But there's nothing to cut with most modern systems. So if you have one where there are wires to cut, maybe consider an upgrade. Just saying. Then they have this subheading here: Alternative System for Public Security. Ripple's executive chairman stated that he sees this as an alternative urban security system. The New York Times notes that while San Francisco doesn't have a high rate of violent crimes, property-related crimes have been a headache for many residents. The network established by Larsen covers around 135 blocks of San Francisco. He also is paying for internet connections at some police stations, claiming that most stations don't have decent internet service. Well, he can certainly afford it. Isn't Larsen an actual billionaire right now? I don't think it was just because of crypto, right? I could swear he's a billionaire right now. I know I covered it in a video recently. I just can't recall everything. Like, my brain does its best to retain information, but there's so much to cover I can't remember everything. But anyway, a police department spokesman clarified to the New York Times that, quote, there was a process for the department to request footage from the party that manages the cameras. That party has the discretion of whether or not to release footage to San Francisco Police Department. And then they have this subheading, San Francisco's community in charge of monitoring the cameras. The report also explains how Larsen's network works. And here's a quote: neighbors band together and decide where to put the cameras. They are installed on private property at the discretion of the property owner. And in San Francisco, many home and business owners want them. The footage is monitored by the Neighborhood Coalition. The cameras are always recording. So I hope even just word of this gets out, and I hope it's enough to deter those types of crimes that have been occurring. That's pretty awesome. I mean, if you got somebody that's willing to throw down the money in support of what's happening in their own community, I think that's pretty baller status right there. Baller. In a recent interview with Wall Street Journal reporter Paul Vigna, how do you say it? Is it Vigna? V-I-G-N-A? Paul, Ripple's co-founder and executive chairman Chris Larsen said that the United States has been slow to the game in terms of experimenting, implementing, and regulating the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. Well, ain't that the truth? Interesting stuff. I did not know this about Chris Larsen, and now I do, and so do you. Good times. Next, shout out to Dr. Harry J. Malinsky for tagging me in this piece from You Today. And he wrote the following in this tweet. I always love seeing anything positive about Ripple. They will shine soon, along with their old wooden ship, XRP, from the Civil War era, I believe. I do love that. That makes me laugh. For those of you that don't know what the hell that's from, I made a video the other day, and I was talking about Binance had this tweet, and they just wrote XRP is, and then underscore, so you could fill in the blank. XRP is what? And then you also some Bitcoin Max. He chose, oh my god, like Twitter lit up because of this. And there are all sorts of people from the XRP community that wrote all sorts of thoughtful things. And then there were all sorts of trolls out there. You sound like this. Bitcoin. And they wrote all sorts of nonsense about how it's centralized, which is garbage, not a cryptocurrency, and it's just all sorts of crap like that. And some of it kind of devolved. It got kind of rough out there. And then you had me that chose to not take the tweet seriously because I'm basically an adult child. And so I responded with, XRP is, how did I write this? XRP is an old wooden ship from the Civil War era. Which is it's a reference from Anchorman. People are like, that doesn't sound positive. Like, some people are actually getting a little frustrated with it. They didn't get the joke, and they're like, well, that doesn't sound good. That's not a good comparison for XRP. Well, it's from Anchorman. There was this scene where they're like, so there's some sort of question about what's diversity, because you know the whole premise of that thing where a woman can't be a news anchor. It's a silly premise. So they were talking about diversity, and then Will Ferrell's character Ron Burgundy was like, diversity, correct me, I could be wrong, but I believe that diversity is an old wooden ship from the Civil War era, which I think is hilarious. So that's where it came from. Anybody, so don't get mad. I wasn't saying that XRP is actually an old wooden ship. I'm kidding here. But anyway, so the piece that he tagged me in was from You Today, and it's titled, Shares of Ripple Partner MoneyGram Pop 14%. Here's why. MoneyGram, a key partner of blockchain payment company Ripple, has just reported a whopping 106% increase in the number of transactions compared to the previous year. That's something right there. The shares of the Dallas-based money transfer company surged more than 14% on the news. You can see there's a MoneyGram price, $3.36, which is not bad considering that just, I guess it was just a little over a year ago, because when was it? It was like, I can't remember if it was earlier, mid-June, maybe it was late June, but it was June of last year. That's when news of the partnership between Ripple and MoneyGram officially came out, because prior to that, I mean, we knew that MoneyGram had been piloting on-demand liquidity, but it was like official partnership at that point. And MoneyGram's stock price just rallied like crazy. It went from, I think the lowest I can recall anyway, was like $1.39, and it, my gosh, in short order, it got up to, it may have taken like a couple months, but it got up to over $6. And then, of course, that was too much, and so it did need to retrace a bit. That's not surprising. But even inside of like the first day, I can't remember what it got up to. I'd have to pull up a chart, but it was substantially higher than $1.39. So people are like, okay, this could really be something positive for MoneyGram. So that's an instance where that stock price, based on actual news, responded. XRP didn't really do anything at the moment, but hey, this is crypto. The positive news doesn't so much do anything. So it's weird. I can't. I mean, really, news does almost. In fact, the argument I make about that, as far as news not doing anything, it's not literally true. It's more like the positive news is the reason that XRP price is where it is. Like, it would be much worse. I don't think that XRP, without constant positive news and actual adoption, I don't think that XRP would be number 4 in market cap. I don't even think it would be anywhere near the top 10. I don't even know if it would be in the top 100. I mean, if you're talking about an instance where there's not actual utility and there's not, there's not positive news coming, look, I think it's doing something. It's just not the case that it just doesn't behave the way people want it to, which is that when the positive news comes out, you see these big rallies or anything like that. That's not the case. But the news does matter. It does affect the price of XRP in that way. It just kind of keeps it where it is. It would be much worse without all the positive news, okay? And June was a successful month for MoneyGram due to the growing demand for its digital products. In his comment, MoneyGram CEO Alex Holmes once again emphasized the digitalization to the veteran money transfer company that is struggling to keep up with a plethora of upstart competitors. And here's a quote. Our digital results once again highlight how consumers around the world are recognizing a new MoneyGram that is delivering the best digital experience in the industry and providing a seamless connection to family and friends through our modern, mobile, and API-driven platform. Now, back in June, MoneyGram reported a 100% year-over-year uptick in the number of transactions. So, hey, progress, right? I like highlighting good news, you know? I mean, there's not always good news, and so sometimes headlines in my videos are going to sound negative if that's what it, you know, and that's just an indication of what I'm talking about, obviously, but it's not all puppies and unicorns and rainbows and Skittles and ice cream all the time. Sometimes there's negative occurrences that are worth talking about. And that's okay. That's why I'm proud to call the Moon Lambo channel a non-hype channel. I'm also proud to have the stupidest name of any XRP YouTuber, and I hope I can maintain that status forever. I mean, good luck running an XRP YouTube channel with a more stupid name. Like, good luck, man. I challenge you. Moon Lambo is a stupid name. But it's still the best channel on all of the YouTubes, and that is a fact. There is science behind it. But that's it for this video. Thank you for stopping by, my friends. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo!